I'm going to say happy Christmas, just in case there's no more videos before Christmas, because there's not many videos at this minute in time. Because why, Dad? It's kind of Christmas and it's quite quiet this time of year traditionally. Even the transfers tend to go a bit quiet because clubs now are looking more at the British market, really. So you don't hear an awful lot about the British market, or not as much anyway. There's a couple of things in here, by the way, that might be in relation to the British market, though. But we'll get on to that soon. This is obviously Rate the Transfer Rumour Show. Daz is here to rate the rumours between 1 and 10 as usual. Some interesting ones here. But good few people replying in the comments last time, Daz, regarding the tea. And everybody seemed to be impressed with your particular tea. So well done.
Yeah, I know it's a good one now.
For this one, though, we're going to go with the go-to Chinese take. What do you get usually when you order a Chinese? So let us know in the comments. Daz, what's yours?
Well, I suppose it's important when you're saying a go-to order. What I mean is something that you think won't let you down. If you're going to, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you don't know what to do. Something that you probably won't be disappointed with. So mine is a spice bag with curry sauce and sweet and sour sauce. Can't go wrong.
Now, I have a thing about the spice bags before I say what mine is. I hate a soggy spice bag. The chips have to be crispy. Everything has to be crispy. And then you get the best of the sauce if that's the case. So I feel it can let me down personally.
But that can happen. That can happen, yes. I will say that.
I hate a soggy spice bag. Let me know in the comments, guys. Does it have to be crispy chips, crispy chicken and all that stuff? For me, it's... you described it well there, really. But the chicken curry, I suppose, you can't really go wrong with chicken curry, can you? Not really.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm alright with that one now.
It's hard to go wrong with that one, to be fair. I'm a bit iffy when I'm trying all the other stuff that can be a bit, you know what I mean? But guys, let us know in the comments. What's your favourite go-to? What do you go to? What's your number one in a Chinese takeaway? So I'll be interested. We'll get into the show. Say chicken curry, please. We'll get into the show now. And first up is a player that's obviously recently left St. Patrick's Athletic. He played under John Daly at St. Patrick's Athletic previously when Daly was there. Axel Sjoberg, right back, being linked with a move to the Blues and John Daly's Waterford FC. What are you thinking, Daz?
Yeah, this one is one I kind of could have guessed it was going to come up, I think, tonight. Sjoberg, yes, Swedish player. He's been in the league a while now. He's been in and around the Pats team. He hasn't overly spent his position in the team, but I think he's quite alright. I think I talked about him before in the show, saying I would have liked him on Bowes. Can't remember that was to you or it was actually on the show, but I would have liked him on for a Bowes. And it's no secret that Waterford have done a serious clear out at the minute, especially with their backs. We'll have 3 or 4 defenders at the minute, I think.
Yeah, they brought in Hayden Khan, and they've basically let go all the players that Keith Lowe.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Woo, whoopie-doo. Nice one. But yeah, look, they're going to have to bring in players in the backs and quick. And I think Waterford will really be attacking that English market in January. I think they'll certainly will be bringing in players from England in the January market for sure. Sjoberg, am I saying the name right? I think I am.
Sjoberg, yeah.
Sjoberg, yeah. He will definitely be a player on the move. I think he is going to lead Pats, I think. I think if you look outside of Dublin, if you look around the Dublin clubs, who is he actually going to get in with and play? I don't really see an awful lot of options for him, really. Shells, no. Rovers, no. Bows, maybe. Pats, he's leaving. After that, then, you're looking throughout the rest of the league. And I think, Derry, no. He's not going to go to Sligo. He's probably
Although Derry at the moment have only Dummigan there, but a bit injury prone as well. But I get you, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, if he's going to stay in the league, I actually think Waterford is a fairly logical step for him. I think he will get in. He will get minutes there. He's an experienced player at this level. And he is a player of Waterford's standings, I think, in the league. And I think it'd be a very suitable transfer. In terms of the actual specific player, I haven't really heard his name mentioned with anybody else at all in the league. I haven't really heard of any other team in for him. So I would say this one's quite likely. And because I've seen it go around a few people now, I'm going to put it quite high. I'm going to put it as an 8 out of 10. I think it's quite likely to happen. And I think he'd be a good sign for Waterford.
Right, so Axel Sjoberg to Waterford FC, Edo 10 says, Daz, sticking with Waterford and sticking with our points regarding the English market. Will Johnson, centre back for Fleetwood, 20 years of age, being linked with a loan move to Waterford. They do tend to get in one or two from Fleetwood when it comes to January, don't they, Daz? And Will Johnson, don't know an awful lot about him because I haven't seen him play, but we talked about defenders. They brought in Hayden Khan, they brought in left back Kuto, and they're looking possibly to bring in Sjoberg. So obviously they're in the market for a centre back as well. They let a few go. So Will Johnson from Fleetwood, who's they say he's rated highly, but they say that about everyone, don't they? Really? So
Dude, they do say that about everyone. But look, there's been a few hits in the league, and there's been a few shockers as well. In the words, a key word, but
including players coming from Fleetwood to Waterford, it's been up and down.
there has been up and down. But there's been a few that worked out too that were all
Yeah,
right,
of
and there's
course.
been a
Yeah,
few too you're kind of thinking, hmm.
yeah.
But look, for sure they're going to bring in someone from Fleetwood. I think that was a given. I think anyone in the league could have got that. Um, I don't know the player either. I've never seen him play before. I don't know anything about him. He is English, and that's the only thing I do know. Um, in regards to him going to Waterford, he's probably going to go to Waterford over anybody else in the league. So there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot. It's not really a whole lot about him. I don't really know much about him, but if I was put a number on it, but just based on the relationship that they have and knowing they're going to bring in someone from England and knowing they have the ties with Fleetwood, I think it'd be quite logical to put it reasonably high. So I'm probably going to put it as a 9 out of 10. If he's linked with them, he's probably going to go there because they're going to take a Fleetwood player. They need a defender. He's 20. He's going to want game time around the first team. I'm going to put it as 9 out of 10. I think he will be someone they'll sign just for all them reasons. But apart from that, I don't know him.
Right, well, that's fair. Will Johnson 2, Waterford FC 9 out of 10. A lot of Waterford fans are watching, might actually be Googling his name as they're watching this as well. Next up, we're going to leave a very interesting one to last, I believe, but we'll come to this one, and it's Josh Honohan. Obviously, he's injured. I think he's out for about 3 months, Daz. Very good player. Left wing back, right wing back, he can play centre back, particularly in the back three. Again, be linked with a move strongly to Lincoln in the
Yeah.
January transfer window. Now, I know he's injured for a few months, but I don't think an injury like that's going to put Lincoln off if they want to sign him. 500 grand might well be the fee, but I think, first of all, I think he'd be a massive loss to Shamrock Rovers. A lot of people would expect that he'll probably go. I know Rovers have funds, etc., but what's interesting about Rovers, I think, coming into this season will be they're pretty much going 2 seasons in a row, roughly, without really a full on pre-season, let's say. Do you know what I mean? So an awful lot of football basically for Shamrock over the last 2 seasons. You do wonder if it'll start to catch up with them. But Josh Honohan would be a massive loss, wouldn't he, to Stephen Bradley's side?
Oh, huge loss. He's kind of one of those players to your own specific team. It's kind of very irreplaceable. Like who do Rovers bring in to replace him?
Mm.
Really, of a
Mm.
similar player. Like he's at a good age. He's obviously, in my opinion, one of the best players in the league. He's certainly the best left back in the league. He's certainly probably the best defender in the league. He's been on the fringes of the Ireland team, as we all know. He reminds me a lot of Liam Scales as a complete standout player. I know he's gone on to play really well with Ireland, and he's gone on to England, and he's done on Scotland. He's done really well for himself, and
I think the thing that
hopefully,
stands out for me, you mentioned his scales there, but what stands out for me is his physical attributes. I think he's quite physical and he's quicker than people think he is, despite his
yeah,
physique, if you like. So he's
yeah,
got
of
that
course.
powerfulness in him, athleticism essentially, really, that might help him.
Yeah, look, he's a standout player. Like every week, he's putting in 7, 8 out of 10 performances every week for Rovers. I can't remember him having a bad game off the top of my head or a game where he looked out of place. I don't think he
High for a
has.
goal as well, hasn't he? Particularly as a wing back.
Like yeah, like he's everything. He's the full package of a player you want. And from what I've heard of a few people too, he's a really good lad. He's a good person. He's a good teammate. He's a hard worker. He's really good in training. He's a good professional. Everything you don't want to lose, basically. And
Mm.
Rover's going to lose it for 500k. I think it's a good deal. Um, I think Rovers would be looking maybe for additional performance related
Because I
clause
think,
in the
sorry,
contract.
that's go across. I believe, now I could be wrong here, but I believe his contract would be up in the summer. So
Yeah,
500k is
so
probably okay
Yeah.
considering the contract potentially, you know.
Yeah, look, and if they put a sell on fee and like a 10-20% fee if he moves, if they put a figure on if he makes an Ireland international appearance, stuff like that too could up the money for overs. I think 500k. I don't think they should argue with that. I don't think they should turn that down. And look, there's a chance for him to go to England and prove himself and try and get up to a higher level. But look, he'd be a big miss to the league. You'd big, huge miss to Shamrock Rovers. I know they signed Enda Stevens in there, but
But
he's
let's
not
be
going to
honest,
be.
as if he's any chance of making the Irish squad in a proper manner, he does have to move, doesn't he?
He does look. It's no secret. Even when Stephen Kenny was here, he didn't pick anyone from the league and start them. He didn't play anyone, and I think everybody in the league would have put money on Stephen Kenny to put someone in the game, and he didn't do it.
Mm.
Which shocked a lot of people. And if he didn't do it, Hamer's certainly not going to do it. And he certainly has aspirations to play for Ireland. Like, what player doesn't want to play for the country?
Mm.
And he's probably looking at that. If he doesn't go, it's not going to happen. So he has to go to try and make it happen. And he has to try and go to
And if he
England.
performs well with Lincoln, then he probably gets a move to the championship type thing. So there's all that
That's
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Look, and if you can get into the championship, that's the level every Irish player I think kind of wants to
Exactly.
at least be at, because
Exactly.
you will always be in the fringes and you're always in the national team if you're in the championship. Below that, maybe not. But in Ireland, you're certainly not going to get a chance. Devastating loss to Shamrock Rovers. What do? You take the money, you try and bring somebody else in. Look, I think 500k is a very reasonable figure for him. And if he moves, best of luck to him. I think he'll do very well over there. And unfortunately for Shamrock Rovers fans, I'm going to put this one quite high. I think he will go in this window. Like you said, his contract's up in summer.
I think it is. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, I think it is. But absolutely get what you can for him instead of him going on the free. Absolutely get money for him and just try and bring somebody else in, if you can. But look, 9 out of 10. I think it's certainly going to happen, and I think Lincoln is a team he will go to. And just that 500k fee I've seen thrown around a lot of places online, so I'd say it was in around that region as well. But I think that's certainly going to happen.
Yep. So what'd you give it? 9 out of 10? Sorry, yeah. 9 out of 10. What?
9 out of 10, yeah.
It is 9, yeah. So 9 out of 10, Josh Honohan to Lincoln City, says Daz. Next up, we've two more now, and this is a player that has been released essentially by St. Patrick's Lake, who's out of contract. Kazeem, who funnily enough signed for St. Patrick's Lake from Galway United. It hasn't worked out for him at the Saints. It looks like he could potentially be gone back to Galway under John Caulfield. Now, the interesting thing when he played for Galway before under Caulfield is that he played as a left wing back. At Pats, he was mainly deployed as a left back. I think there's a massive difference. I'll give an example. Danny Grant wouldn't be able to play as a right back, you know what I mean? But he's capable of playing as a right wing back. That's just an example. I think it's a big difference. Bobby Burns has left Galway, who was the left wing back, to join Dundalk. So obviously there's a spot there, isn't there, for Kazeem? And just be interesting to see, would he go back to Galway United?
Yeah, I think certainly there's that berth is up for grabs. Galway will have to be in the market now to bring somebody in. Again, Galway are a team who need a lot of bodies brought in. A lot of players have went. They need to bring in a whole new team nearly. I actually didn't think Bobby would go to Dundalk. That kind of came out of nowhere for me. But he did. He's a good signing for Dundalk. But yeah, Kazeem, yeah. I guess I do agree completely with you. It's a very different position, left wing back to left back. You're further up the field. Your role is kind of more to go forward with the play when we're going forward, and when you don't have the ball, you're kind of sitting behind the halfway line a little bit, and you're giving your centre backs that option of another defender when not in possession of the ball. So
I've seen players who've been left wing back struggle at left back, or even right as well, right hand side.
Yeah.
And I've seen it vice versa as well. To be honest, they really are very different positions. Like it's mad. Like you kind of generally need a bit of athleticism when you're playing.
You do. Yeah, you
wing back, but you also have that protection of you mightn't have to be the best defender to play wing back. Put it that way. You often see even midfield players play wing back as well, but you wouldn't play them left back a lot of the time because you have that protection, as you say, with your left centre back generally. But if you're a left back, you generally have to be defensively good first before you're good attacking. It's nearly the other way around with the wing back. And interesting that Pat's brought him in, I suppose, because he didn't work essentially, you know.
Yeah, look, it didn't work out for him, and look, he needs to go away from Pasta. He wants to continue his development. He needs to go somewhere he's going to play. Galway need a left wing back. I think he's from Galway. Am I right in saying that?
No, he's English. He's English.
Well, like what he was obviously living in Galway before, like when he in the area or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah. He knows the area, he knows the
so like
team, he knows the manager.
yeah, like I think sometimes with a player in League of Ireland when they have ties to a certain area, I think that can often bring a player back
Hmm.
if something doesn't work out for them.
Hmm.
We've seen that happen with a lot of players throughout the league. If from a certain area, they'll go back to certain clubs because it's the area they know where they've grown up in, or they know they have friends there, their family there, what have you. Um, I would put this one quite high because Galway are obviously in for the player and he needs to go. So it works out. I think that one really clicks and it works out. I'm gonna put this one high as well. I'd put it as a 7 out of 10. I think it's quite likely to happen. And if he goes to Galway, I think he plays and hopefully he gets his career back on track and gets a good few games. I think Galway fans will be delighted to see him back.
So Kazeem to Galway United, dad says 7 out of 10. Now this one is interesting. I've heard a few things about this, but I've also actually seen publicly a few things about this. But it has to be addressed for me. Sam Curtis linked with a loan back to St Patrick's Athletic from Sheffield United. Of course, Sam is 20 years of age. Hasn't quite worked out with Sheffield United. Isn't getting the minutes. He was on loan at St Johnstone in Scotland, where he played really well. 20 years of age, was excellent at Pats previously. I'm a little bit surprised. I'd be a bit, personally. I just feel like he's a player that would want to stay in England or Scotland and get a loan there. But there has been a number of links with Pats, which is it's curious as well because Pats have signed Ronan Boyce to be the right
Yeah.
back. So would it be not a bit weird? Maybe you think different. If Sam Curtis came in on loan and have two really good right backs and maybe you lack balance elsewhere, like it's a strange one, isn't it? And he can play centre back in the back three, but Pat's never played that, and Kenny rarely plays that. I know he done it with Ireland a bit, but as a club manager, that's not what he's looking for. You know what I mean? So has to be addressed. But what do you think of this one?
I don't think there's anything in that. I don't think he comes home to Pats. I don't think he comes home to the League of Ireland, unfortunately. I think he stays in the UK. I think he drops further down if he has to. There's nothing wrong with going to another Scottish club if he has to get game time and to
He was
get
playing well at St Johnson as well,
yeah,
actually,
like
when he was
he
alone.
could
So
go
yeah.
he could go back there and obviously Sheffield United are actually not even doing really well in Championship. They're having a really awful season there and they've been chopping and changing that team quite a lot. So
Maybe
who's
that's
who's to,
makes it harder for him in a way. You know, that kind of way they tend to
yeah,
clubs they're less likely to throw in
yeah,
younger,
exactly.
inexperienced
Yeah.
players when they're struggling nearly.
Yeah, and it's like Sheffield will likely be in the market in January and bring in God knows how many players because of where they're at the minute. They really shouldn't be where they're at. But that kind of potentially could make it harder for him to get back into the team because if they start bringing in X, Y, and Z or bringing in loan players in Premier League teams, they're going to be obliged to play them or they're going to play them
Mm.
over some of their own younger players. So I think that puts him back out in the spotlight. Does he come home to Pats? No. He goes back to Scotland or he goes down to League Two, League One in England and he gets game time there. I don't think he comes home. If he was to come back to Pats, it'd be a terrific signing for Pats. I think he would really improve the team. It wouldn't surprise me if he was actually available for loan if Shamrock Rovers didn't come in for him and try and get him on loan either. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I would put this one quite low. I don't think he comes home. I honestly think, and I hate saying it, it's a last resort for him. I don't think he does it. I'm going to put it as a 3 out of 10. I think it's quite unlikely to happen. He's going to go back to Scotland likely, or he'll go down to League Two or League One.
Yeah, so 3 out of 10. Sam Curtis to Pat says Daz. We needed a low one in there, didn't we? There was a few high ones there this week, so
There was a few high
yeah.
ones. I need to balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, just to balance it out. But no, it had to be addressed that for me. But it is an interesting one. But one to keep an eye on to see where he actually goes. But guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a few ratings between 1 and 10. What do you think of these potential players going to your particular club? And if we don't see you before, happy Christmas. Thanks very much,
Happy
lads.
Christmas.